One of the reasons why the majority of the modern relationships are failing is because there has been a serious neutralization of energy between the masculine and the feminine. What do I mean by that? I mean that in order for a relationship to be successful, to be progressive, and to grow, there has to be a polarization of energy between the masculine and the feminine. In other words, one has to be truly masculine and the other has to be truly feminine in order for the relationship to work successfully. When there's a neutralization, to be neutral means you are not on either side of the spectrum. In other words, you are not truly that masculine or you are not truly that feminine. Whereas you're supposed to be truly feminine or masculine in order for the relationship to work. And what's the basic, inherent, fundamental cause of this predicament? It's one thing. We are living in a generation of the mostly feminized man. We are the most emotional man that the world has ever seen. Why is it so? It's because the majority of men in our day and age, we were brought by single mothers. Now, don't get me wrong. No matter how good the intentions of your mother may be in terms of raising you as a young man, she doesn't have the capacity, the capability to curate a space for you to fully grow into your masculine. You understand? She harbors you in this emotional femininity, and you grow up in an environment whereby you have no male role model figures whom you look up to, who actually model what it really means to be a masculine man. And that is really concerning. That has caused a very devastating effect on why the majority of men have been feminized. Modern men, they wouldn't fit the time of Shaka Zulu. I mean, how can you be so concerned as a man about how you feel, whereas you are not really concerned about what you're supposed to be doing at the moment? It's very much important to be logical, not emotional. The reason why you're concerned about your feelings is because you were brought up in an environment that only curates for emotionality, which it's all an umbrella for femininity, you understand? Whereas the masculine figure is more inherently focusing on the logic, perspective or side of life. You understand? I mean, you were brought up by a single mother. The majority of your teachers in high school, even in primary, they are all females. You understand? So you are brought up in this environment that feminizes how you think as a man. But then when you grow up and you are supposedly to be matured, you are then expected to be a man and to act as a man. But you are so feminine to an extent that you don't really realize that you have been poisoned. Your masculinity has been dispositioned. You're not really that masculine anymore. You've been neutralized. That's why the majority of men in our day and age, they don't really have a spine. They have nothing to stand for. That's why they fall for anything. You understand? Now, when you create or curate a space that only caters for femininity in men, that's why you have so many emotional men who are ruled by their rage, anger, how they feel. They are so selfish to an extent that they even run away from responsibility. Let that sink in. I mean, they run away from responsibility because they are so self-centered and selfish. Whereas the masculine way of doing things is self-sacrifice, is providing, is ensuring that you curate a space that is quite conducive for those who live amongst you. Basically, it's to sacrifice yourself. Why do you think the man in the Titanic said, man, children and women first, before any? It's because it's the masculine urge to sacrifice oneself for the survival of the human species. You understand? There's so much I can actually say in this respect, but the majority of our problems in our modern day and age is because of the lack of masculinity in man. Man ruled by emotions, man ruled by how they feel, men who are inherently determined by their emotional state on what they're supposedly to be doing at that any moment in time. It's really concerning. It's a matter that needs to be addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Professor Oxford, and on my YouTube channel, I'm actually addressing these types of issues that we have in our current modern day and age. Subscribe for more. Like, follow, comment, and share it to a friend.